Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our biology video lesson over the cell cycle and mitosis and cytokinesis. So notes over 6.2 and 6.3 from your textbook. This is the final video lesson for our 5th unit here. Everything about DNA replication, the cell cycle, all right, how information is passed from cell to cell and how cells make more of themselves, okay? So we're going over the last major concept here, which is a generalized description of the cell cycle. Okay, so the life of a cell, and also the particular stages in a cell cycle that get us ready to go from 1 to 2 new cells. All right, so we looked at prokaryotic cellular reproduction last video with binary fission and how it's a really simplistic process of copying DNA and then just splitting right in the middle. Eukaryotic cellular division is much more complex to this, and it's because it deals with the cytoplasm and because it has that nuclear membrane. It's got membrane-bound organelles, okay? So for a eukaryotic cell to copy itself, it's got to do a lot more than just copy DNA and split in the center. You have to increase the amount of cytoplasm. You have to increase the amount of cell membrane. You have to increase the amount of every single organelle. And you got probably a lot more DNA in those chromosome-like structures that need to be traded and separated. So it's just a more complex process altogether. It looks a little something like this diagram right here, okay? So we break it up into 5 major things here, and the red lines represent a stage in a cell's life that's known as interphase, and 90% of a cell's life is actually spent in this interphase stage. What's going on in this interphase stage? Pretty much just daily function, okay? Cells carrying out pretty much whatever they do on a daily basis. All right, if it's a skin cell, it's doing its skin cell thing. If it's a blood cell, it's doing its blood cell thing. All right, but the interphase is broken up into 3 separate phases or stages as well: G1, S, and G2. G1 is the first growth phase here in the cell cycle, and it's where rapid growth and regular cell function take place. The majority of a cell's life is spent in this stage, and some cells actually never exit this stage. Muscle cells and nerve cells. Talk about that a little bit more in class, okay? So G1 phase, pretty much just everyday cellular activity, cellular growth. We get into the S phase, all right? Now, it's much shorter than the G1, so if this diagram was to be chronologically correct in a way, the G1, this line would extend all the way over to here, okay, because it does compose the majority of a cell's life. But in the S phase, S stands for synthesis, okay? DNA is copied. DNA replication, what we studied in 9.3, takes place during the S phase. So we're getting ready to go from 1 old to 2 new cells here, okay? And we've got the necessary amount of new information present so each new cell can have that nice, complete, identical set of DNA and carry out exactly what it's supposed to in the future. Finally, we get to the G2 phase, the second growth phase, and basically we've got more organelles are being made and the cell is prepping for cellular division here in the G2 phase, okay? So it's kind of like packing your bags, getting ready to go on vacation here, all right? You need more lysosomes, you need more mitochondria, you need more Golgi apparati, you're going to have a lot more endoplasmic reticulum. So all of those organelles reproduced, more of them made, so each brand new cell has the adequate amount of organelles to carry out its daily function. Then we get into mitosis and cytokinesis, and we're going to be getting into these two here later on in a little more detail, but in mitosis, the nucleus is dividing into 2 new nuclei. A lot of times people want to jump forward and say that mitosis results in 2 new cells, and no! That's not what's happening. You're getting 2 new nuclei, all right? And each new nuclei has the same amount of chromosomes that that original nucleus contained. Cytokinesis is the actual last step that results in 2 brand new identical cells. We have the division of cytoplasm, meaning cell. Kinesis in this meaning a process to separate, all right? So we've got 2 new identical and identically functioning cells here as a result of our 5th step, 5th stage, that is cytokinesis, okay? So you could take it and say that we've got 3, interphase, mitosis, cytokinesis, or you could say we have 5, G1, S, G2, mitosis, and cytokinesis, okay? This entire cell cycle process It allows for cells to be able to replace damaged cells and for an organism to grow and to develop. All right, and what is the trigger, or what's allowing us to go from what stage to what stage? What's telling the cell to go ahead and move on to the next phase of its life? Specialized little proteins and enzymes that are known as checkpoint proteins or checkpoint enzymes. And we'll talk about those in class with a little more detail as well. That's it for the cell cycle. This is part 1 of our last video lesson. I'm going to give it a little break here, and then we're going to knock out mitosis with the next little video here. See you later.